Today we are going to talk about a city that was once known as the Mother of the World, a shining metropolis on the Silk Road, easily a rival to places like Baghdad and Constantinople. And yet, for most of us, its name, its entire story, has been almost completely wiped away by time. We're talking about the lost city of Merv.
Really think about that question for a second. Is it even possible for a city, maybe the biggest city on the whole planet at its peak, to just vanish into the desert? To leave behind almost nothing but ruins and whispers?
Well, the answer is a definite yes. And the proof? It's just staggering. What you're looking at are the remains of Merv, specifically a structure called the Great Kala, standing silent in the sands of what is now Turkmenistan, a ghost of a forgotten greatness.
Okay, so let's really get into this. To understand how a city this massive gets lost, we first have to understand what it was. So let's do a proper introduction to Merv.
You see, Merv wasn't just any city. It was a crucial oasis hub right on the Silk Road. And its history, it's just immense. We are talking about a place where people lived from the Bronze Age all the way up to the 18th century. That's almost 5,000 years of history in one spot.
So you have to wonder, why was Merv so important for so long? And the answer is actually pretty simple. Location, location, location. It was a strategic crossroads, a prize that one great empire after another desperately wanted to control. And just look at this list of rulers. It's like a who's who of ancient and medieval superpowers. You've got the Persians, then the successors of Alexander the Great, then the Parthians, the Sasanians, all the way up to the great Arab caliphates and the Seljuk Empire. If you controlled Merv, you basically controlled a major artery of world trade and culture. And get this, Merv wasn't just some far-flung provincial capital. For a short, brilliant period in the 9th century, it was the actual capital of the entire Islamic world, an empire that stretched all the way from Spain to India. So all of this incredible history, it all builds up to its absolute peak. Under the rule of the Seljuk Turks, Merv exploded into its golden age, earning a reputation that was legendary across the known world. You don't have to take my word for it. Just listen to how people at the time described it. The Mother of the World. That one phrase, it tells you everything you need to know about how important and magnificent this place was. It was the place to be.
And to give you a sense of the scale, just consider this number. At its height, Merv was home to 500,000 people. That's more than Constantinople, more than Baghdad. It was a serious contender for the biggest city on Earth at that time. And it wasn't just big, it was brilliant. Merv was an absolute powerhouse of knowledge. We're talking 10 major libraries. The famous poet and scientist Omar Khayyam actually worked at its observatory. It was a buzzing, multicultural hub, famous for its thinkers, its science, and even for its incredible textiles. This amazing building, the Mausoleum of Sultan Sanjar, is one of the few things left that testifies to that golden age. They said its turquoise dome was so bright and so tall that caravans could see it shimmering from a full day's journey away. It was literally a beacon of civilization in the desert. But then, everything changed. A storm was gathering on the steppes to the east, a force that would bring this glittering metropolis, the Mother of the World, crashing to its knees. In the year 1221, the Mongol army arrived. It was led by Tolui Khan, one of Genghis Khan's own sons. After a short siege, the city of Merv surrendered. You have to imagine its citizens were hoping for mercy. They were not going to get it. This number, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. A Persian historian at the time, Juvaini, claims that up to 1.3 million people were systematically slaughtered. That includes the city's residents and all the refugees who had fled there thinking it was safe. An Arab historian, writing based on the stories of the few people who actually escaped, described the absolute horror. A memorable day for shrieking and weeping and wailing. It was an act of annihilation on a scale that is still just shocking. Merv never recovered. It just couldn't. Sure, it was partially rebuilt later, but the soul of the city, its people, its libraries, its centuries of knowledge, it had all been snuffed out. Its golden age was over. For good.
Now, you'd think the Mongol sack was the end of the story. And it was the mortal wound for sure. But the city's death wasn't quick. It was a long, slow decline that played out over the next 500 years. The city became a ghost of its former self, passed between different regional powers. And then,
the final blow. In the late 1700s, the emir of Bukhara didn't just attack what was left of the city. He did something far more brutal. He systematically destroyed its dams, the very source of life in the oasis, and then he deported every single person left. He didn't just sack the city, he killed the land itself. This contrast really says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you have the incredible grandeur of Sultan Sanjar's mausoleum, a symbol of Merv at its absolute peak. And on the other, crumbling mud brick walls being swallowed by the desert. It is the complete story of a civilization's rise and its total, utter fall. You know, over a century ago, a British diplomat named George Curzon stood right there, in those ruins. And he said it perfectly. He said, "We are in the center of bygone greatness." You can almost feel the ghosts of the millions of people who once walked those streets. Today, what's left of Merv is protected. UNESCO made it a World Heritage Site, not just because of its tragic story, but because it's the most perfectly preserved example of one of these great Silk Road oasis cities. It shows us how they were built, how they thrived, and how they could die. And that really leaves us with a pretty deep thought to end on. The story of Merv is this powerful, sobering reminder that nothing is permanent. If a metropolis of 500,000 people, a global center of learning and culture, can be reduced to nothing but dust, what does that say about the cities we live in today? How much of our own world will one day be just echoes in the dust?